Gotcha. Well, first, quarterback in today is going to be Tim Emmel. He's our technology expert. He'll kind of finish it up at the end. We're going to save a lot of time for questions. We feel like the information that Rock and I have, and Tim, is really relevant. Rock Lucas, PGA member, owner, operator, and a superintendent of Charwood. He's on the East Coast. He's in South Carolina. I'm an owner, operator of Augusta Ranch Golf Club. I'm on the West Coast. So you're going to get two perspectives of two golf courses that are open. So for those of you who aren't open, right, and that's 52% of you maybe, let Rock and I share some information of what we see happening, what we've been dealing with, but also the revenue side of this, because there is a certain amount of panic, that can certainly set in when something like this happens. It's so unprecedented. So, all right, Tim, you're looking good. Get that thing started.
You guys ready to go?
We're ready. We are ready. Freddie, you can go to the next slide.
We'll get out of this here real quick. There we go.
Good. Well, first I just thought we had to talk about don't panic right now, right? We've heard some good statistics and some horrible statistics in the last 2 hours, and certainly some golf courses are going to suffer. Certainly that lower quadrant, that lower 25%, I'm worried about too. I don't think I'm in there. I think I'm going to be all right, but I'm close. I know Rock and I are going to do our best, and we're going to give you guys some good advice today of let's not panic yet, right? There's no need to panic maybe ever if we do some right things right now. Next slide, Tim. So this is it, right? Tim gave me credit for this quote. I appreciate that, Tim. So just, if we're going to talk about revenue management or we're going to talk about revenue generation, the first thing we have to do is not just give it away when we reopen. A lot of the presenters have said this already. We're not going to talk about food and beverage too much. We're going to talk about literally where the rubber meets the road, where two owners who are dealing with it right now have seen some mistakes that you're going to learn from our mistakes, but certainly what we see going forward. Next slide, Tim. So just three aspects of today's, go back, yep, there you go. So first, Rock's going to start us off with his observations, some questions, some suggestions, some really good stuff. I'm going to kind of get into what I've seen here at Augusta Ranch in Arizona and what you can do with programs, passes, prepaid type of situations to help you get out of this as least unscathed as possible. And then certainly utilizing technology, which I've never seen more people on Zoom. I've seen more people over the age of 60 on Zoom, which is amazing. They're getting on their phones and apps, which is good for me because I'm a par 61, but technology is going to be everybody's friend when we come out of this. All right, next slide, Tim. And so first up, Rock, you can take it from here. Just, you've got some really good stuff on your slides, and what do you have to share with everybody?
All right, first off, Don, thank you very much. Appreciate that intro. Thank Tim for all his hard work on the slides and babysitting us, the technology side. I want to thank Jack for continuing this. He was innovative. He was just like us golf course operators. He had, this big event planned for Nashville. I wish we were in Nash Vegas helping the local economy, but look what he did. He innovated. He came up with another way to skin this cat. So that's exactly what golf course operators are doing. We're doing the same thing that Jack's doing. And in your case and mine, we're building this plane as it flies, as I've heard, 1,000 times over and over. But so thank Jack for doing this and putting it together and allowing us to be on this. I'm not going to get into the weeds because this audience is so variations of it. We've got open, we've got closed, we've got about to open, we've got destination properties. You've got some that's semi-private with some membership. So there's all kinds of different variables that's going into play here. So we can't really dive into any one. So I'm going to just talk about a couple things and then we'll do the rest of it for the discussion or Q&A afterwards. So, but the first one is there is light at the end of the tunnel. You saw earlier that this thing is going to kind of June 1 and then V back up. But we've stayed open. That wasn't by accident. That was a long history with golf in our state, working with our governor's office. And that's the only way that we stayed open. It was not by accident. So, but during those things that we've seen is, I'm just going to go through a couple of things is, are you public or semi-private? Is your course walkable? How many golf carts? You're seeing all these things on Accelerate and all these different industry allied associations, best practices. Well, not one fits all. So if my golf course is not a walkable golf course, if my golf course's pace of play is 4.5 to 5 hours versus a 3.5, if I've got 125 golf cars versus 60 golf cars, there's so many different variables. So if you're in this room and you're in this audience and you were in this business 2008 and beyond, and you're a good operator, you're a smart business person. So you've got this, you'll figure it out. And then Apollo 13, this is not going to be, I've heard some doom and gloom on golf, but I think it's going to be our finest hour. I think it's bringing stuff to golf, it's highlighting golf to families, the outdoors, everything you've heard already today, this morning. I think we're going to be fine. In our circumstances, the Yamaha guy just left. It's $105 for extra golf cars. I know some people have already gotten golf cars if you can find them, but you may not be necessary. April is March, April, May are our peak months. April, I ran the numbers through yesterday. With us being under severe restrictions, single rider and all that, our rounds are almost identical to last year's April, which was a record month for us. Our rounds are almost identical and our revenue is up. So it is possible. So when you have some hope and some optimism that it is possible. So look at your operation, look closely, know your pace of play, expect your pace of play to be faster. Matter of fact, we've had complaints about people saying it's playing too fast. They can't really enjoy as much as they would like to. So expect some of those things. So look at your tee sheet, be smart on your tee sheet. Are you going to go walk, ride every other tee time? Work backwards into it. Work at your pace of play. Work into the number of golf carts that you have. Then set your tee sheet up accordingly to that. Again, there's just so many details that we could go into. Is your clubhouse completely closed or open? Our food and beverage, we're doing pre-made every morning. The food and beverage is just killing it. We can't keep enough beer stocked. I mean, it's unreal. The sandwiches to go, I have hardly any overhead in my food and beverage. I might not ever open my grill back again. It'll be very few hours if I do, because of the pre-selected go. I've got guys that are buddies of mine that were gym rats. They're walking, 5-6 rounds a week now, and they're putting home gyms, and they're not going to go back to the gym. So they're putting their home gyms in and plan on continuing the golf and the walking and the fellowship and the outdoors. The families and those things are, I've seen more families on the golf course than ever before. So those are things that I would be anticipating. Some things, had we known this was coming and we were closed, I would have tweaked some rates on my walking. I'd have tweaked some membership or some season passes, more geared towards family, more geared towards walking. Bumped my cart rate up just a hair, not much. I've known people that only went up 50 cents, and that was able to offset that based on if everybody was paying it. So there's a lot of different variables on some things that you can do. And I'll kind of just shut up and let you go on into your session, and then we can discuss some of these in more detail as we get through yours and Tim's and see how they all tie back in together.
Yeah, go back one slide, Tim, just to kind of focus on that, because we were about one slide behind. But everybody, maybe go one more back. And obviously, we're going to be able to share this deck with everybody. But if everybody could, read through some of that stuff right now, give you a couple minutes or a couple 30 seconds. It might create some questions, because once again, we got 2 owners who are open for business right now dealing with this. We're sanitizing everything. I've got my 6-foot stick I'm going to talk about in a little bit, but this could create some questions for you if you're on the line, no matter. All right, one more slide, Tim. Let's read through this, everybody. Might create some questions for you.
Yeah, one thing we did there was, we would have groups like most everybody. You got your rack rate, your senior rate, or whatever it is. I know if you're in Florida, you don't have a senior rate because everybody's senior rate. So we went to all of our regulars. If we have a church group that comes out and they've got a $5 discount, and for bringing 25 people every Monday or something like that, we went and said, guys, we can't do this. Would y'all willing? And everybody, with the exception of maybe one, not the group, but 1 or 2 people, everybody says, just stay open. We'll do with whatever we can to help you. Just stay open. This is the only thing we've got. This is our, to get out the house, this, that, and the other. So we have a lot of seniors that didn't come to the golf course, are still not coming to the golf course, but the millennials, the young professionals, the baby boomers are still coming out in groves. So.
No, you're exactly right. And, you know, I mean, there's going to be other sessions today talk about food and beverage. Obviously, the last one did too. I mean, we're going to talk about the core business, right? I don't know about you guys, but I lose money in food and beverage. It doesn't matter if it's during COVID or it's the peak season. It's tough, right? I mean, especially if you're actually appointing those expenses appropriately, right? Are you dividing up your utility bills, property taxes, things like that? It's hard to make money in food and beverage. Not going to spend a lot of time on it, but it's part of the experience. We all know that. So just, you know, managing your employee percentages. And obviously food costs are going to be very difficult because you're not going to be turning as much food. I'm down 100% when it comes to my restaurant right now. So we're managing the labor as best we can. One thing, Rock, I wanted to, as we go into the next slide, we talk about our golf cart fleet, but you had some inclusive members that included carts, and you kind of had to renegotiate with them because they were using up all your golf carts and now you were running out on some people that are going to play anyways because they've got your passes. What'd you do there? I thought that was very interesting.
We sell very, very limited number of all-inclusive, which, you know, they just write one check for the year. And basically, that's our property tax. You know, so we get,
right, exactly.
So, hey, you cover my property tax for the year, or you paying it all up front. And so that's what we generally do. And if all of those had played at the same morning, and so you have 60 cars, and I've got 40 of those, and they all played, then I only have 20 cars available for single riders of 20 people. So we went to all of them and said, listen, and we renegotiated and said, would you pay the cart fee, the member cart fee? And what we did was we're going to give you credit towards that. When it's all said and done, we're going to give you credit back towards your cart fee. And for every month that we're doing this, we're going to extend your annual renewal for every month that we have to do it. We only had one that didn't do it, and I was scared to death, but we did write him a check back. And I was scared to death because I was thinking that's going to set a precedent. And all of a sudden now I'm doing it for everybody. But they all said, look, man, he's one of those guys that if I was a restaurant owner and somebody had bad customer service or whatever, if I fired the manager, burned the place down, closed it, collected on insurance, and gave them the check, they still wouldn't be happy.
No doubt. And it just shows you the relationship you're going to have with your most loyal customers. Chris Strauss kind of ended that, the previous presentation, talking about your most loyal people. Can you work with them? I'm going to get into a little bit when we get into rates, but, just to get into these golf carts, as we talk about our core business, I think all of us will agree that green fees and cart fees are where we make our money. That is where the rubber meets the road. That's where we have to manage our business at this point. If we start losing percentage points in these two categories, that's what's really going to hurt our EBITDA. So I thought this was interesting as we all found some pictures online about where golf carts are going. At one point, everybody was talking about the four-person rider. There's certainly across the nation, for those of you who aren't open yet, some will say, hey, if you rode in the car together, then you could ride in a cart together. That's getting thrown out the window. If you live together, you can ride in the cart together. Okay, makes a lot of sense. That's kind of getting thrown out the window just because the perception of two people sitting next to each other, even if it's father and daughter. If Katie and I are playing golf together and we're riding in the same cart, people still look and see, well, why are they sitting so close? Because it's a golf cart, but that's what we're looking at. And when Chris talks about being a little bit, kind of keeping on the down low in the social media, we're not going to talk about how busy we are right now because there are a lot of businesses that are closed and they're feeling the pain and the pinch. So what I thought was interesting, this bottom cart, which I would always laugh at, that you've got 4 bags on one cart, but now that starts to make a little bit of sense. I can just send out one golf car and maybe the family gets to walk because they want to walk anyways, right? We've got 2,000 calories, 10,000 steps in a round of golf. I mean, those are maybe that option B, which I never really looked at before. Maybe that's something we should start looking at. I will tell you this, I've talked to some golf cart manufacturers. If you're going to go for plan B down there that holds 4 bags, make sure that piece is metal. There's some less expensive ones on the market that are aluminum. We all know people are going to stand on that. They're going to bend it. And you're going to be in bad shape. So as those become more available, make sure you go into steel. Go ahead, Rock.
On that, that we call that the USGA. We're doing that now with the single rider. We're putting 2 bags on a car and then only 1 rider, but it can't swap out either because that defeated the entire purpose. So the same driver's got to be driving the whole time, but that's the USGA senior method. Either the caddy or the player can be in the cart, but not both.
I like it. All right, next slide, Tim. Yeah, go ahead, Tim.
For Don and Rock, quick question that came in that I think is relevant right now. Municipal courses that also has monthly membership similar to private clubs. We are seeing a lot of non-golfers walking on the courses. How are other courses managing this? People think since it's a public facility, they should just be able to walk.
I can answer that first, Rock, if you want. I don't know if anybody on the phone or on the call today or in the webinar is on Nextdoor. But Nextdoor is something your community is certainly doing. And there's a lot of good intel happening on Nextdoor. You need to sign up for Nextdoor. right away. If you don't know what it is, Google it. Because I saw a lot of next door conversation of saying, hey, the golf course, anybody can walk on it. You know, instead of walking down the streets, walk down the golf course. Hey, I'm still open for business. And so what we've done is our ambassadors, our rangers, our marshals, whatever you call them at your facility, I call them pace and space ambassadors. They're about pace now, but they're also about space. And they're also out there making sure that the non-golfers from the community aren't walking the golf course, that we're educating them, that we're still open for business. But other than that, it's definitely having your ambassador staff is not a part of the staff that you're going to want to cut. Somebody has to be out there in the golf course for medical reasons, for pace and space, and certainly those trespassers who just think it's a nice park. And I'm someone who says that golf courses are like parks, right? But unfortunately, people want to play it without a club and a ball. Rock, you got anything that you've had to deal with on that?
Yes, we have the same problem, year round anyway. It's picked up a little bit, but it's, late in the afternoons especially. But most everybody's adhering, they're coming in, they're paying, and they're playing. We've seen a lot of beginners, a lot of people playing that haven't ever played before. But most of us are coming through the clubhouse. So we don't have that big of a problem.
Yeah. Last one, guys, while we're on this topic, real quick, Don, because I think Rock answered it in his list. How are you going to handle the perception on having two people on the same cart? Just because they live in the same house, but other people may not know this, and that caused others to be alarmed. I think, Rock, you had a great solution for that.
What we did was we went down to Walmart and bought a bunch of the bicycle flags and stuck them in those golf carts in the rake holder between the bag well, and said, if you see that orange flag going down there, that's the same household, because it bugged me. I would be out on a golf course, and we're heavily hands-on operators, and I would call the shop all the time. I said, these two don't look like they. Well, it'd be two brothers home from college who's not, college is shut down, so they're living at home. So these two 22-year-olds are riding to go, and I'm just thinking they're buddies, but they're brothers. So we've had that problem. I said, well, we got to fix this because it was bugging me, and if I didn't like it, then I know that someone else didn't. So we went and put the bicycle flags in there.
Thank you. All right, we'll keep going here.
So just, on the cart usage stuff, everybody can kind of read through that list. Anything jump out there for you, Tim or Rock?
I think it handles a lot of that questions that are coming in, or this page will answer a lot of those for those public courses.
Yeah, we'll share this. I mean, this is good stuff that Rock put together. I got to give it to him.
I would get ahead of your state thing again, because I was on a call this morning that our South Carolina is the tourism department is already working on a tourism resiliency campaign. And so golf is going to be part of that. Okay, what's the first 30-day package? So when we're reopening, or they're trying to, and even then, even though the governor may issue his orders, we've got, a large coastline of beach. And so each municipality of beaches are going by different rules. So Myrtle Beach is going to try to open up as fast as they can, because they don't want to lose their summer market. So people are booking those travel times you saw earlier, whereas Charleston is keeping their beaches closed. So as a group in our South Carolina, we're already at the governor's office saying, here's our 30-day package. Here's how we want to open. It's going to be pretty much the same as it is now. Single rider, except for same household. We might try to squeeze in there if you rode to the golf course together, but we might wait for the first 30 days and then go to that later on. But get involved with your state associations now.
Yeah, Rock and I are both board members for the NGCOA, and these relationships are critical. That's why We Are Golf is so critical. There's a lot of people not there, and we need to be there. I know that it's helped Arizona that we have a relationship with our legislators and the governor. He's taken some heat. Some mayors, like Rock's talking about, have really said, is golf essential? And he said outdoor recreation is essential. And he actually mentioned golf, that if we're doing our spacing, that we're going to be okay. But Wisconsin opens up all their golf courses and says, hey, one rider per cart. So, I think there's just, if not given any information, they're going to do what they think is right. And we all know that only 8% of the population plays golf. So some of these legislators don't play. And they're going to do what they think is intuitive, but it's not. So I think as much as we can get in there, definitely talk to your legislators. They want some guidance on this. Certainly their chief of staffs or legislative assistants. So don't ever hesitate to do that. And meanwhile, Park and Play on the NGCOA website gives you lots of good foundational best practices. If you aren't open yet, PGA's done a good job with that too. So, all right, what do we got? And so the last part of that is just, I think all of us have talked about, those single rider carts. I never really kind of looked at it too much. Obviously I have pull carts and renting them. Rock's doing a good job of selling, having a lot more pull carts put together, ready to go out of the box. So people are buying them now because they do want to walk instead of ride. So why not sell them something instead of renting them something? I think that's going to help it if you've got a lower inventory of pull carts or real carts. But all of these things, I think Rock and I, we've been to every convention, Rock. We've seen all of these ideas, and some we maybe laughed at, but now we're going, okay, at Augusta Ranch, I have 60 golf carts. Once again, I'm a par 61. My barn it's at capacity. I could not fit another 10 golf cars in my barn if I had to. So what am I going to do? Can I get 10 single rider kind of cars and some kind of revenue share? I know the Fat Scooter does that. But some of these things we have to start thinking about now. It could be a good space saver for your cart barn, a revenue generator, and also to help you with this higher demand than normal of golf cars because everybody wants to ride by themselves. And sometimes legislators are forcing that. Any comments on that, Rob?
Yeah, those over the years have been more of a novelty item. They've been more for higher end properties, resort property, destination property. As far as a profit center, it's just been my experience. And I know several properties, and I don't want to say their names, but you know them also, Don, that we've got in common with some friends and I even reached out to one of them and said, hey, do you still have these? And they said, yeah, I have them. I said, can I make money at that? He said, no, you're not going to make money at it. He said, it's not going to be a revenue center for you. So I don't think they were ever designed to go out. We're turning our carts, your pace of play and my pace of play is going to be probably close to the same. We're running 3.5, probably thereabouts. And so we're turning them fast and the same cars are going out. I don't think these are designed to be multiple use, have that many mileage on them, that many rounds on them. I don't think they're going to be lasting that many years. So you might, break even, get your green fee out of it, but a revenue center for us at our properties, I don't think that's the case. And
go back. Go ahead.
Yeah, and we were Googling pull carts the other night, or going to Amazon. You can't find pull carts, or one of the most popular sellers that all of our guys are buying. They're not going to be available until May. So good luck even trying to find carts right now, pull carts, and much less.
Yeah, right. I mean, whether it's wipes or toilet paper, people are going to steal your toilet paper in your restrooms. So you're going to have to lock that up. I'm telling you right now, you're going to run out of hand cleaner. You're going to run out of the antiseptic stuff. Thankfully, my son works at Costco. He's been getting his stuff, because they get to shop first. So, yeah, very interesting. Go forward one slide of the adaptive cart there, the accessible. This is something I think I'd love to see the manufacturers of these carts. That, hey, whether you're an accessible golfer, obviously the PGA Hole program has been so good. I've seen a lot of this happen where we've got some amputees playing golf. But is that a way you could incorporate for the first time ever? Maybe I do get 10 of those, knowing one, I'm more accessible now than ever, but I'm also going to allow some social distancing. So, all right, we'll keep it.
While we're on the cart topic, a question came in from Phil Green at OB Sports. Why is the same household the rule versus did you drive to the course in the same car? Can you guys touch on that from your perspective in both states, Arizona, South Carolina?
100%. I tried to push, and we're in direct contact with our governor's office. Golf is huge in South Carolina, as in most states, but we, like I said, go back to the relationship. I pushed for it, and that's one of my notes too, is that even amongst operators, there's going to be, 500-800 people in the audience here today that's going to be disagreeing. Some people are going to be saying we shouldn't be open. We shouldn't be open at all. We should keep our courses closed. You've got properties that's got 5 golf courses. They close them all but one, and they're rotating in our state. We've got on our own phone calls, we've got operators who completely disagree. Now, some of the operators you can kind of look and say, this guy's owner is a multi-billionaire, and so it's not really going to hurt them as much to shut it down versus you've got golf courses that are, trying to survive. But it's all optics. So the governor did, it does just common sense does say that if I live in the same household, I can ride together. But even though common sense says if I rode to the golf course together, I rode 45 minutes to an hour to the golf course. The guy went through a drive-through and got a chicken biscuit, and I put all the mustard on the sandwiches and handed him the sandwich, and he's eating it and everything. But when we get to the golf course, we got to ride. I had an operator in North Carolina said that he got on to somebody about their social distancing, and they said, yeah, we understand it. He watched them pull both their carts in the parking lot, and they both got into the same car and left. So, but it's 100% optics. So when people looking out, we had people taking pictures of fathers and sons riding in their golf carts and sending them. So even our own allied associations, although we're very, very close, even the own allied associations were disagreeing. Only which one of them are writing the checks. All the rest of them are receiving the checks. And I hate to say that out loud, but it's the truth. And I write checks to all of them, and I belong to all of them, but it's optics.
Yeah, we sign a lot of the fronts of checks, don't we, Rock? We don't sign a lot of backs of checks, unfortunately, as owners. And, I would completely agree. working some counter shifts, working some outside service shifts, being around my golf course. I've never been more into my business than right now. And this is all about optics. A lot of people aren't working right now. People who live on golf courses now all of a sudden are there all day long. They're watching this. Now their life has been impacted. Their businesses have been closed. They're on the verge of bankruptcy, and they're looking out their view fencing and seeing people riding together and having a good time and laughing and joking. So there is even more hypersensitivity to this than ever before, which is why we've gone really dark on social media. I went early on social media, but now we just kind of lay low. We actually ask our golfers not to take pictures of them in the cart sitting with somebody else. It's just the way it is. Am I going to post that on Facebook? No. But certainly the people who show up to the golf course, we say, listen, it's a privilege to be open right now. Let's take that seriously. And so let's just be careful what we're posting out there, because a lot of people are hurt right now. And 92% of the people in America don't see the value of golf other than their property values. So
what you just said, we had to do a lot of self-policing. We play golf. My staff plays golf. We go to different golf courses, different groups, and I'll get a text. Hey, I just played this golf course. They didn't do anything. They did have the foam, but we were, riding together. We were doing this together and all that. So we'll reach out and find somebody that knows that owner or the chairman of that, board of directors or whatever. And we say, hey, you're killing us. They might be in an outlying area.
Absolutely.
Golf course, but it doesn't matter. And I said, man, nobody out here is going to see anything. Nobody out here cares. I said, but you're risking golf for everyone. Everyone. And then when we go to golfers that are, say, guys, y'all are risking golf, somebody be walking, but to get on the back of a golf cart. I said, man, you're risking golf for all of us, of it being shut down. So we've helped the self-police probably 5 golf courses that we've contacted the owners of the golf course and said, please stop what you're doing. Here's the guidelines. Please operate under these guidelines.
Absolutely, Rock. I've done the same. We have to do that. It's just the way it's going to be. There is some personal responsibility, but there certainly is some policing action. So this brings up this slide. The other day, I just found a 6-foot piece of PVC in the maintenance yard, and I cut it to 6. I cut it and I put some black tape on the end, so if I poke somebody in the belly, it wouldn't snag their shirt. But that is something I've given our restaurant, my starter. And when I walk across it, or I go around the golf course facility on or off the course, that's on the range, I've got my 6-foot stick. Everybody laughs at my 6-foot stick, but I'm not afraid to walk up to them and poke them in the belly. I don't need these pictures running on social media. I need the perception to be what reality is, which is we are doing everything we possibly can environmentally, and there's not as much touching going on, right? So just think about that. Even your instructors, when guys we're still doing clinics here, but I have to go out there with my stick. We set up cones. We do all the things the big box stores are doing. You have to now, because we're all in this together, and that means us owner operators of facilities. All right, so real fast, because we certainly want to stay for questions. And but I think just when it comes to how we've survived here at Augusta Ranch, obviously took well over an 80,000 hit to the bottom line in March. Remember, this was my peak season. If you want to hurt Augusta Ranch or anybody in the Arizona market, you take away the last 2 to 3 weeks of March. Mother Nature took care of one, and then COVID took care of the other 2. And so we're in a bad spot, but we're coming out of it. But I think it's learning from some stuff and actually listen to some industry experts who know about this stuff. So next slide. Some of you might know, I took the Cornell class of revenue management. This is one of the basics of revenue management, is the race to the bottom. Google this if you want to read more on it. But when we come out of this, if we all start trying to create demand in this inelastic situation, because I still believe, I'd love to hear some experts talk about this, Dr. Kathy Enns, but I still think that if you're lower your rate, you're not going to increase your demand, because the demand's going to be there. The demand is still there. It might be a little less, but it's certainly different on Tuesdays than Saturdays. That's still going to remain true. Might even have higher demand on Tuesday because people aren't working Monday through Friday. But we all have to know this as golf operators, what the prisoner's dilemma is. So do a little brush up on that if you could. We don't want to fall victim to that situation. Next screen. So let's just talk about some of the programs that get out there. First and foremost, benchmarking. The STAR report has already been mentioned today. And that's certainly something that tells hotel owners and operators what the utilization rates and what's the RevPARs are in the hotel industry. We have that now for golf, but not everybody's taking advantage of it. We're in a different situation now. Before, budgets were our scorecard. We knew what the par was, and we tried to finish under par. The scorecard was the scorecard. We're in a tournament now. It doesn't matter what the scorecard says. It's blowing, it's windy. What is the winner of this tournament going to shoot? That's all that matters. In relation to par, we could care less. So you need to start knowing what's going on in your competitive rate environment. What we do know for sure in Arizona is that golf courses that are actively managing their rates by utilization, by demand, using technology at their disposal, they're performing 20% better. That's a fact. The ones that are out there just trying to gut instinct it, they're down 20. They're not down 20%, but they're not 20% higher than me. I need to stay there. That 20% is a huge number. So whether it's pre-swing or Sagacity Golf, whatever you're going to do, when these programs that you might, and those are 2 revenue management programs. Obviously, benchmarking is an industry tool. You need to look into these immediately, because we've been doing twilight times and weekend rates for a long time. Guess what? We're on Zoom now and we're not in Nashville. It's time to really get involved in technology and leverage technology to make sure that we're pricing things correctly. We could be pricing lessons different by revenue management. Maybe it's carts by demand and time of day. We pull carts. We don't know, but we do know that as long as we're not being opportunistic on this, we're just being smart businessmen and women that we can take advantage of what we have. So watch out when you have your loyalty cards in your programs. One of the foundations is make sure they're not playing at your most high demand times, right? There's these apex hours in your day, hours, not the entire day, not even day of the week, but an hour of the day that is more important than every other time. If you just managed your 10 busiest days, you would do better when it came to revenue management. And you can do that without technology. Technology makes it easier. But watch out, your punch cards, your annual passes, things like that, those programs could end up pushing people away from the very times that they want to play these new golfers that we know are going to come out. Next slide. And so, Tim, one of the reasons I put this on the slide, Rock and Tim, is just because this is what I found here at Augusta Ranch. When Chris talks about taking advantage of our loyal golfers, okay, we have loyalty cards. I think a lot of people have loyalty cards. You buy one card, it's good for everybody in the foursome. Don't do that anymore. Have a loyalty card that's good for 1 or 2 people. You certainly can. That's what my Summer Masters card is. It's good for 4 people. But I have a card just good for 1 person so that I can give them a discount. And I need to make sure, when can they play and not play? I have to be smart about that. What we have seen here is April, even though I'm down only 3%, what I'm up 180% right now is pass sales. And I've made these higher than they have been in the past, but I also didn't know if I was going to close. So I wanted to get some money in the till. So whether it's my junior pass, which gives a discount if an adult comes with them, I think I see that's something you should leverage. Family passes. These subscription models that are out there, we do it here where you see Sunset Pass on there in the middle on the right. That is something, we only sell 100 of them because of the time of day we allow the people to play, but it's certainly every first of the month, I'm hitting 100 credit cards for $85. And so whether I'm open or closed, and now granted, I understand with health club memberships, there have been some adjustments if you can't play the golf course. Okay, you're going to be smart about that because these are your loyal customers. But I really do believe that passes and converting people from loyalty cards to passes is putting money into your till. And if you set up the guidelines now, if you're not open yet, really look at your loyalty cards, really look at your monthly, seasonal, and annual passes to make sure that you're not going to displace revenue from those high peak times, those apex hours of the day. Next slide. Just wanted to talk a little about prepay and all that means. Now, let's be honest. As some of you are saying, well, one person doesn't want to pay for 4 tee times on their own website because now what are they going to do when they get to the golf course? Listen, we all know hot deals and tee off times. They've been doing that for years. People figure it out. Whether it's Venmo or sliding the guy at 20, it's okay to pay for 4 people online. Gift cards. What are you doing with gift cards right now? I think people do want to maybe invest into your business. Maybe you give a little bit of a deal to get some money into the till. I love Golf Cash on our app. And Quick 18, Sagacity Golf built my app a long time ago, but Golf Cash has been a functionality of the app that I never really leveraged. I am leveraging it now because it is a digital version of a gift card. And I'm incentivizing them, kind of like Dave and Buster's. If they put $100 in, I'll give them 110. We're doing more now on Golf Cash than I do on American Express or Discover. Visa, MasterCard off the charts, I get it. I'm not going to compete with that. I'm not taking cash anymore. I'm not even really taking checks anymore. But Golf Cash has supplanted Discover and American Express as my 3rd most successful tender. And guess what? I get the breakage on that. There will be some people who don't spend it all. Breakage is key when it comes to gift cards. So just understand, prepay means a lot of different things. It means using digital gift cards. It means gift cards themselves. It means allowing prepay options on your website. And make sure there's add-on features to your prepay. Once that credit card's locked up online and they prepay, there should be an ability for now to sell that consumer something more, a bucket of balls, a cart, or something, whatever that might be. Maybe it's a 6-pack special. But once that card's out, hit them online for the upsells, because you might not have that opportunity when you're at the counter or the window. Our golf shop is closed now, doing everything through the window. But upselling cannot, you need to motivate your staff now to upsell no matter what, and your online tools should exemplify that same stuff. And so, you know, Tim, I wanted you to get into your technology stuff for sure, because when I think about all the different ways to pay nowadays and the virtual check-ins, and I mean, talk about that. Where do you see the technology side of helping people prepay for golf?
Sure, happy to. So we have another session this afternoon. We'll go much deeper. So we want to get just for a few of these here today. Is this the new norm? Allow the marks on the floor to keep safe social distance, not unlike the grocery store, the big box stores where we're 2 cart lengths apart. If that becomes the new norm, how are we going to adjust to that? So we kind of took a look at what the restaurant world is really doing. And while they're having their own challenges and having to deal with takeout orders or curbside pickup, people like One Dine, Apple Pay, Chrono Golf has got an amazing solution. Jonas, I mean, there's a lot of great resources in our industry, but like the image on One Dine, that's an RFID where I can simply walk up to your pro shop, hover my phone, and pay for those polo shirts, golf balls, wedge, whatever I may be buying today. Apple Pay, now you print the receipt, you slide it across the table, I simply scan it with my phone, it's paid. We never touched hands, we never shook hands, we never had a transaction, but I was still able to buy goods and services from you. I think the restaurant world has always been a step ahead of that. But again, I would start to look at the resources within our industry, what we're all trying to build, and especially for a public golf course where I need to get bodies through there, I need to keep those rates coming, and what do I do for that? This was just a kind of a highlight. All those public golfers, 87% of them have their smartphone with them at all times. And if you're not thinking now, post-COVID, what am I going to do to be prepared so when that person shows up, do I have an app? Do I have app integration? Is there a companion app solution? Is there another opportunity where I can tag onto someone else's offering? I think you should talk to your T-sheet providers, your point of sale providers. And again, this is no self-promotion for any one company, but get the resources today. As Ron said, or excuse me, as Rock said, what am I learning now? If I'm one of those 57% of courses that are currently closed across the US, this is your chance to be prepared. So when this thing comes out of it, take guys like Rock and Don and go, how do I absolutely learn from what they went through? Because they're kind of the pioneers, like many of you on this webinar today, of learning that. So if you're closed today, I would learn from these folks of what they're doing. Solutions, many of these companion apps from technology on the bottom right, we're doing live scoring, whether it's cart to cart or phone to phone, letting them interact, but they don't have to touch. There's, you know, this questions come up to me. I've gotten more emails about, what do I do with the pencil? Who was the last person that touched the pencil on the cart? I mean, it's a thing we'd never thought in 100 years we'd ever ask ourselves. I would think Don and Rocky would agree, but people are kind of now wondering, right? Did you sanitize the pencil? So can you use technology to do scoring? Bottom left, can I order my food and beverage via my phone? Many of the point of sale providers, again, like the Chrono Golfs of the world, the other app guys that are out there, the Golf Pays there on the page are saying order it, have it delivered, have it picked up. But again, many of these sessions have Golf Pay is now allowing you to, and has been allowing operators as well as golfers, a very simple way to check in, prepay, do it via text. So I think it's like the single rider cart where text to pay was something that seemed way out in the future. It might be coming faster than we think, and how we're all integrating to those points. And kind of to summarize here, you know, we're looking at this and what we've built, and I know the guys at Tag Marshall, and give a lot of shout outs to the other providers on GPS and the rest, but one control panel for your shop that lets you see walkers, lets you see riders, and that's what Izon's been really developing is, can I see from my phone where everyone is on my property at one time so I can communicate to them? And if you just simply go through a companion app module, why can't you see them while they're riding in a cart or they're walking? And starting to get control, have communication tools, because you have less staff right now. And these tools have all been built, and these tools have all been built to solve those for people. So technology is your friend. And I think it's time to start embracing those and do your homework. And again, learn from guys like Rock and Don from what they've had. So we'll touch on more this afternoon, but Don, I think we'll go to the Q&A section. I can start reading a few of these to you guys, and then those that want to type them in. One was on rates. I think it's an important one for both of you. Catherine said, don't decrease rates, right? Just wondering how to justify the decreased services we will have, but yet charge the same rates. What's your thoughts?
Go ahead, Rock. You go first. I'll follow it up. I'll go first on the next one.
Yeah, whatever you do, do not. Matter of fact, we went up. It's opposite of going down, because when you have to have that conversation that we're trying to stay open, we're trying to keep the doors open. It's going to look, the image, going back to optics, even for myself, I look and see my cart barn empty. All the horses are gone. I said, man, we're killing it. And then all of a sudden you say, oops, that's half the play, you know. So we have filled in the void between the tee times with walkers. So the image is everybody's going to think that you're killing it. We've even had people say, man, y'all were busy. Said, and then you stop and explain. Even your staff is thinking that you're killing it. So you have to explain to your staff. You have to explain to the customers. You have to explain to your regular, you know, people. Say, hey, and they're in it with you. They want you to be open. They honestly do. Because they're looking for you. They're looking for you to be there out. They're back to normalcy. So I would not be concerned at all about not discounting, period. And not only that, if you've got to tweak something up a little bit before you open up, go ahead and do it now.
Yeah, I do think, you know, in a lot of these states that start opening up their golf courses, there is a situation where we're the only game in town. Thank you, Jesus, right? I mean, and so there is some pent up demand. Now you're going to see different people coming to your golf course. What I've seen at Augusta Ranch is typically in April, I would have a lot of winter visitors. Easter was later this year. I'd kind of priced and set my season schedule up accordingly. But they left early, right? The migration of all the winter visitors and the snowbirds started early when the Canadians got their 10-day letter and they had to go back to Canada. And then all the birds flocked together. But I'm getting backfill from other golfers, from new golfers who haven't golfed in a long time, or families. For instance, a family checked in and they wanted to use the range, and after they bought their buckets of balls, they're like, oh, say, where are the clubs? They had no idea that you got to kind of bring your own. Easy, you know, we've got the used club kind of staff bag that's sitting out there that we sell for $5 now. We just we wipe them all down after every use. But we certainly have clubs available to borrow at all times for any level of golfer, left-handed, right-handed, and size or gender. So I think whatever your rates were before, I certainly wouldn't go lower than that, because I think there's going to be a demand coming your way from golfers that want to play. I just would be really careful of lowering your rates in this, hey, we're happy to be open special. Chris Strauss mentioned some things about, you know, value adding the things you're going to do. Hey, I would go there before I would do anything, but I don't think you're going to have to do that. There might be a little bit less services. You're right. I mean, I'm takeout and all the other things. They can't shop, but they still want to play. They're going to be so grateful that you're open. It's going to blow your mind. I encourage you to walk around your business. It's going to make you feel good, because everybody's going to want to tell you how happy you are that you're open and that they miss you. It's going to make you feel good. And we need to feel good in this tough time. So do not lower your rates. Stick with at least what you had last year. And you might find out that you might have to raise them, even if you don't have revenue management technology.
Don, to dovetail off of your rental club idea, Justin Smith asked, do you have any other revenue generating streams that may be on your radars? Maybe some sort of value add that could even make a course a differentiator.
Yeah, well, I said I'd answer this one first, Rock, so you can get your answer ready. On the you know, I don't know what I'm going to do with golf carts. So like I said, I've got an older clientele. I was always worried about these skateboards and things like this. Nothing against any of those, but the fat scooter, I just couldn't see a 75-year-old lady riding the fat scooter, right? So how can I think the one rider carts are going to be an opportunity where in the past, you know, we all went, I remember as a kid, I'd play golf and a cart fee was a cart fee whether one or two people sat in it. And then we all went to per person cart fees. Well, maybe that is going to have to be, well, if you're taking a cart by yourself, I'm not going to be opportunistic, but it might be a little bit more if you're going to take a cart by yourself. Other revenue streams, I think, are going to be these subscription models. I think it's going to be these subscription models that I think Supreme Golf Solutions is coming up with, that you can put in, you know, some teaching functionality to that. I think we're going to see a lot of people are finding out for the first time, even though we've known it for years, that space and place has always been at a golf course. Our social distancing has been one of the things we take pride on. And so we're going to be exposed to more new golfers now than ever before. And if we can leverage for the first time these top golfers who didn't consider themselves golfers and come out and say, hey, now you get the spacing because you're not in bays, but you're in tee times every 7 minutes, 8 minutes, 9 minutes. I think that's where we're going to have to focus our efforts on.
Pretty much the same thing. We hadn't had pool carts in probably 25 years. You know, now we're going to start stocking pool carts for rent.
Yeah.
You know, bag boys or whatever it used to be. And then you're going to have, you know, the people paying $250 for click gear, which you can't get right now. So you start go to your golf shop, you start looking at the family clinics, those types of things where you're doing a clinic for just a family and you line those up. And I'm like Don said, I'm not looking forward to that conversation, but when the governor or municipality doesn't release it to where you can ride together, even if you didn't ride the golf course together, say it's 6 months from now, and then people are still going to want to maintain that. They're still going to want to ride by themselves. And so now those are issues that we're going to have. And I'm sure we're going to do exactly what Don said. We're going to start charging extra for the ride by myself. And I've got a sneaky suspicion, gut instinct, that they're not going to mind it.
So on that topic, Rob, the well-known golf architect Forrest Richardson writes, wouldn't this be a great time for operators and others to be demanding a solution for single rider carts that could be a profit center? If this became the norm, it could have other positive implications.
You know, and I'm hoping that some economies of scale do drive down those prices, right? I mean, I think before you were getting one solo rider cart because you just wanted to be accessible. Now, maybe if you're ordering 10, we can drive some of those prices down so they're closer to the $85 or $65 level, per cart in a 3 or 4 year lease. I don't know. I'm sure they're saying, Don, the margins aren't there, but just saying, let's meet halfway here because we're all in this together. No matter if you're a vendor or a golf course proprietor.
I know there's been some conversations already with Yamaha, and I'm sure they are with Club Car and E-Z-GO. Are y'all going to look at this market? Because it's going to take a good size manufacturer, it's going to take a good size warranty, it's going to take a good size, somebody that's built something, a mousetrap that's designed to be used over and over and over, and not just, here and there and periodically. So it's going to take some good engineering to get something that's going to be sustainable.
And I'll say one more thing, Tim, foot golf, I know, some of these other forms, disc golf, foot golf, sling golf, whatever it might be, people might roll their eyes, but I will tell you, our foot golf play is up. And am I making a lot of money on it? No, but I'll tell you, one of the reasons I'm doing it is for the perception of, hey, we're good for everybody. Am I ever going to convert them into golfers? Probably not. But right now, I want families to feel comfortable coming to a golf course to help out with this perception and some of the shaming that's going on. So is it going to be a big profit center? No, but an extra $10,000 right now could make or break you by the end of the year of paying your monthly payment.
Are either of you seen golfers wear face masks while they're playing golf today?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We've had some employees that feel more comfortable wearing a mask while they're working. That's okay. It's whatever they want to do. As much as we sanitize the cart after we park it on the pad and we're wearing gloves, somebody gets into it and they sanitize it again with their wipes that they brought from home. That's okay. And I actually watch to see what they're wiping off to make sure I'm wiping off the things that seem important to them. Matter of fact, like the upright of the roof, I wasn't wiping down. I had the handrails, I had the steering wheel, I had all that cup holder stuff, the little clips on the bag, the straps themselves. But I forgot everybody grabs that upright when you're a passenger to jump into the cart. I wasn't wiping that down. So yeah, certainly I'm seeing that for sure.
What we've seen is if somebody is at risk and they are still coming out, then some of those are doing it. But it's been amazing that the number of people that you're having to tell them, hey, don't do this, don't do that. Like Don's walking tall stick, you're actually having to go out and enforce people and saying, don't do this. And it's a lot, even of our senior citizen retirees, they don't care, man. So we're trying to teach and educate. And I've seen them come out with masks. We're in South Carolina, so got like 88, 89 the other day, which that's nothing compared to the 105 is going to get. But when it gets that warm that fast, they started out with the mask, and about halfway around, they've taken them off.
Sure.
And Tim, one thing real quick on your prepaid, we're a little bit lagging behind on that. We're working on it. We have it. We're trying to build it. But a lot of people are call and say, hey, if you want to call in manually, we'll do you manually. So you don't want to do the app or whatever, you can call in and we'll process it over the phone and still have your golf cart waiting, or if you're walking, go straight out to the course. So you can still do it manually while you're ramping up your prepay in your own line.
For sure. That's a great point. I think this is a really good one for public golf, and you two touched this very well, especially you, Rock. From Jeff Robinson, do you think leveraged or softened course maintenance standards might be accepted as a result of thinner staffs, tighter margins, possibly longer play days, parentheses with tee time spacing, combined with water saving strategies that are still coming full speed? So as a superintendent and as an owner, Rock, what's your thoughts on that and how the perception will be?
That was a long question there, but I'll try to see if I can remember.
3 parts.
Not that long. Yes, my son is my business partner, and he's 26 years old. And I ask him, I said, well, what class did they teach you about pandemic viruses and being self-employed, at business school at Carolina? And so you don't have those. So we're learning as we go. But I have to keep reminding him, he'll go to say something about some, people driving here, driving there. And I said, son, let's just stop, breathe, just be glad they're here. So just, we've relaxed our standards tremendously. Yes, you're right on the wear and tear, the extra next to the tee boxes where they don't stay on the path and this and that. There's a lot of that, but right now I'm grateful for one, that they're here. So we're very lenient on that, and we're all in it together. We're trying to get through this thing together. So the last thing I want to do is get people aggravated. There's people on the edge, there's just a lot of stuff going on that we've never dealt with. So we're letting a lot of that stuff go. Fortunately enough, we had already been working on the water conservation. We've removed over the winter, we removed 20 acres of turf, and we did the USGA heat mapping app. So we've already ahead of the curve on that. And I'm just grateful that golf, there's nothing in my lifetime, in the golf management lifetime, that's ever been really good for golf. It happened nationally, internationally. This is the first time that anything extra that's going on. It's actually, golf has been there and is at the forefront, and is helping golf, it's helping people. First time in my career that I can ever imagine that, something good is happening to golf right now.
Don,
Well,
next one.
you want to do one more? I don't know if Jack's giving us the high sign or not. Is he
Let's do
standing
one
up in the
more,
back of
'cause
the
this
room
is
right now?
One more, because this is a good one for both of you. Are your buildings open for restrooms? We've been told that if we reopen buildings, they must stay closed for the restrooms.
Yeah, actually, we have a standalone golf shop that's over by the 1st and 10th tee, and the restaurant has the restroom. So in the morning when the restaurant isn't open, because it's obviously some limited hours now because of what's going on over there, we put up one of those you might find at the movie theater, the little straps, retractable straps. We bought some of those from Amazon and put them up in some of the hallways to keep people out. But the bathrooms are certainly open. And I don't know how you can be a functioning business and sell anything without bathrooms, but that might be a local ordinance or something. What do you think, Rock?
Yeah, I mean, we're open, same thing, but you're stepping up your cleaning, you're stepping up everything to touch surfaces and all that. And it's, I go to the grocery store, I pick up a thing of chops, I put them down, I got another thing of chops, I hit the touch screen on the pay. You can't get caught up because it's not physically possible to do everything. All you're trying to do is hit the major points. You're trying to do the right thing. And it's a lot of us, I'm not trying to take away from the health. By all means, that's first. Health of our staff, health of our customers is all first. Staying open is second, or getting open is second, depends on where you are. But you can't possibly just go through your normal day. If you go to a grocery store, you go to Sam's or Costco, go through your normal day. You cannot possibly just think of all the things you touched, and nobody cleaned it before or after you. So just try to do the best you can. That's all you can do.
That's all you can do.
I'll keep going. Jack,
no, Jack's in. Jack is tapping in.
I'm sure you could just keep going. We can keep going all day.
Right.
But we do need to take a little break here.